Morning.
Morning.
Luke, here we go. So glad to see so many familiar faces and friends and family and teachers. So glad to see all y'all here today. I'm going to be talking about the power of sin today. A few months back, I was just laying in my room watching some TV, and I just was thinking about what I was going to be speaking on, and it just hit me. I just started thinking about just daydreaming, as I'm sitting there, thinking about Jesus on the cross, and just the words where he says, my God, why have you forsaken me? And I always ponder on that, and I'm thinking, God forsaken Jesus? And that just always sticks in my head, God, why would he forsake his only son? And then I realized, it just came to me, he had sin on him. When he took on the world's sin, God had no affiliation with sin and looked away. So that was just really powerful to me, and I thought, man, sin, God, this is a powerful thing. This made God turn his back on Jesus. So that was the story behind what made me want to speak about this. So I wrote some what I call the imagery of sin. I feel like best depicts, whatever the word for that is, what sin really is. So I said, you see, sin is like a vast ocean that you can easily get caught in and be carried miles away from solid land. It'll beat you up, torment you, and leave you stranded, and we underestimate its true power. The only one who can save you from the sinful ocean is Jesus. God is on the other side of the ocean, ready to receive you, but God has nothing in common with sin, nor does he have anything to do with sin, but Jesus Christ does. He can save you and bring you to the Lord because he became sin. Jesus is the only one that can save you from this sin-filled ocean. Sin is very powerful, so we should not test the waters of this ocean because it will suck you in a blink of an eye.
Amen.
I think that really just shows how powerful sin really is. So I wrote down some examples of power of sin. It makes us turn away from God. When we're sinning, we're not focused on God. It makes us turn away. Sin is powerful enough that it can only be washed away by a blood sacrifice. We saw that with Jesus, the sacrifice. It's powerful enough to blind us. It makes us disorient us to where we can't see straight. It sends us to eternal damnation. Sin will send you down a path that will take you to damnation. It says, sin is powerful enough where, like I said before, it killed Jesus Christ. And it made God turn his back on Jesus. That's, like I said, that right there, the part where it killed Jesus, I was like, man, that's so powerful. The man who knew no sin became sin. We see through Christ what God thinks about sin. And we see in that his relationship is burdened until Jesus became holy again. God looked away from his son Jesus in the same way that I believe he looks away when we sin. When sin is in our daily lives, it conflicts with our relationship with God. Timothy Keller, in his sermon, Sin is a Predator, said, we drastically underestimate the power of sin. Sin, by its nature, hides itself, crouches at your door. It always looks smaller than it is. Your sins are not done with you when you think you are done with them. That's all true right there. I was talking to my dad the other day in the car. I was talking to him about what I was going to be preaching about and everything. And he says to me that thinking about sin, he's like, people say that sin is like a lion. It just crouches around waiting for the weakest one out of the flock, and it just pounces on it. So I was talking to him, he was like, if I think about it, I feel like the devil, whatever, looks at our lives and figures out what the weakest part of our life is, and then just pounces on it.
Amen.
And I was like, yeah, that's true. That seems really true. So now we just talked about the powerful sin and how, it's just, it can be overwhelming to think about all that it's done and all that it does and how present it is in your life. So the question you might be asking right now is, how do we handle something so powerful and present in our lives? How do we handle something so huge as sin that we look at? All right, so let's look at this question, and let's look at what Jesus says about it first. The Bible shows us that in Matthew 5:29 through 30. He says, if your right eye causes you to stumble, gouge it out and throw it away. It's better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to stumble, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one part of your body than for your whole body to go into hell. I mean, it seems a little extreme, but that's true. If we got something in our life that we know we trip on, we know we keep falling on, and it's a habit of our sin, he says, pluck it out, take it out, because it's better for you to lose that one fleshly desire than for your whole body to be thrown into hell. And it really makes sense. And I feel like we, as a church, as a Christian body, should feel this way towards sin. We should hate sin so much that whenever it comes into our life, we just want to cut it off immediately. As soon as we notice it, cut it off. So, and this was kind of funny. I was on my break at Jim Bob's, yes, and I was just thinking about this sermon and everything, and I just started reading or whatever and looking up videos and looking up anything I could that I could just incorporate into this. And then I stumbled upon Romans 6, and I was thinking, golly, Paul, what a man. He kills it right here. Romans 6 basically writes the sermon out that I was going to write. So I write it, and then I see what he wrote, and I'm like, gosh. Like, he kills it. So all of Romans 6 talks about the power of sin, how we should handle sin, everything about sin. Let me read something out of Romans 6. Romans 6, starting verse 11. He says, in the same way, count yourselves dead to sin, but alive in God, Jesus Christ. Therefore, do not let sin reign in your mortal body so that you obey its evil desire. Do not offer any part of yourself to sin as an instrument of wickedness, but rather offer yourselves to God as those who have been brought from death to life. And For sin shall no longer be your master, because you're not under the law, but under grace. You're not under the law of sin anymore. Sin, with Christ, you're not under the law of sin, but rather you're under the grace of God. Amen. So it simply comes down to this. We should see sin and how present, how powerful it is, but we should not be scared. Paul also says in Romans 6 through 7, and really listen to this. He says, for we know that our old self was crucified with him, so that the body ruled by sin might be done away with, for that we should no longer be slaves to sin, because anyone who has died has been set free from sin. So listen, he says, consider that sin in your life already dead. It was crucified with Christ on the cross. So if your sin is already dead, why are we scared of the power of sin? We should look at sin and just be like, you have no power over me. The Bible says, greater is he that is in you than he is that is of this world. Amen. So why are we scared of the power of sin? When you got saved, your sin died with Christ on that old rugged cross. So what is there to be afraid of? Though throughout your everyday, we need to keep in mind the strength that God gives us over sin. In Genesis 4:6, the Lord said to Cain, why are you so angry, and why has your face fallen? If you do well, will you not be accepted? And if you do not do well, sin is crouching at the door. It's desired for you, but you must rule over it. That lion's not going to go away. He's still going to be looking for your weakest link. He's still going to look for something to attack. He's not leaving. And He's going to continue. The closer you get with Christ, the more He's going to be pouncing on you and trying to turn you away. He hates it when we get close to Christ. He hates it when we gather together in His name. So the more that we get closer to God, the more sin is going to try to pull you away, and the more strong you need to be so you can have power over sin. It is a battle that we can only win with Christ on our side. Sin will no longer rule over you. So we see that sin has a lot of power, and it's very present, and we see how we can overcome it. We see ways that we could defeat it. And but here's the part of this that'll get you though. If you don't have Christ in your heart, then let me advise you to seriously think about that, because without Christ in you, you can't stand up against sin. Amen. Sin is too powerful. It will just suck you in. Like I said, the sinful ocean, it will suck you in, pull you miles and miles away from sea, and you won't see solid land. You'll think you'll never get back. Let me tell you something. If you accept Jesus Christ, He will take you back to solid land. He will take you back on firm ground. Amen. So, it's a hopeless fight without Jesus Christ. So, if you don't have Jesus in your life, I really want you to think about that today, because sin it's nothing to joke about or anything like that. It's very powerful, and we need to face it. So at this time, I'm going to call preacher for the invitation.